All right, for those of you who would like to share this, it's now being streamed on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to the Commonwealth Students Association YouTube account and you can obtain the link there and share it. I call this meeting to order at 12:14 GMT. The agenda has been shared with the entire delegates list. We are going to go through the agenda and move a motion to adopt the agenda so that we can proceed with our meeting. On item 3, there is the Congress rules. Item 4, introduction of delegates, specifically heads of delegation. Tabling of the 2022 to 2023 report. That's item 5. Item 6, motion 1, suspension of voting by secret ballot. Motion 2, the election of the chairperson of the Congress. Motion 3, the appointment of a returning officer. Motion 4, the adoption of the Commonwealth Student Safety and Security Agreement. Motion 5, adoption of the Commonwealth Student Integrity Declaration. Any other business? I move a motion to adopt the meeting agenda for the 5th CSA Congress. Does anyone second that motion? If you would want to either send a message in the chat or let me also send the meeting agenda here. Namibia seconds the motion. Thank you. Now we are going to introduce the heads of delegation. We are going to start, well, preferably we want to go in alphabetical order. So I'll just call the countries and I'll call all Commonwealth countries. So we record those who are absent and those who are represented. Give me a moment. Antigua and Barbuda. I believe Antigua and Barbuda is absent. Australia is absent. The Bahamas is absent. There is no registered delegate from Bangladesh. No registered delegate from Barbados. Belize is the delegate from Belize present. That would be Ashley Langford, not present. From Botswana, Brunei, Cameroon is the delegate from the...
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you, Donald.
Yes, greetings to everyone. I am Donald Buato, and I'm presiding the steering committee of the Cameroon National Student Association. Yes, in my delegation, there is Mr. Funwe Jr., who is the vice president of the steering committee, and the secretary of the steering committee, which is Deju Patricia.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you.
And for added context, Cameroon is in the process of establishing a national student organization, and the EXCO agreed that steering committees would be allowed associate membership, which allows them to vote in the Congress. Next, Canada is not present. Cyprus,
Just on a light
Dominica,
Cameroon. Cameroon should get ready for us, Nigeria.
Eswatini, Fiji, the Gambia. Is the delegate from Ghana present?
Yes, Ghana is present. My name is
Can
Joshua
you state your
Nakri.
name, please?
My name is Joshua Nakri, the Secretary for International Relations for the National Union of
Okay,
Ghana
I
Students.
think there is a slight discrepancy with the registration from Ghana. There are two registrations, one with you, Joshua, as the head of delegation, and one with the president as the head of delegation. Can you confirm for us the
Yes, so
head of
so
delegation?
my president is the head of delegation and he's not here, so I'm representing him.
Oh, he's not here, or is he now here?
He's not in the meeting as we speak.
Thank you, very well. Then we have Grenada, Guyana. India is represented by the country representative. And because India doesn't have a full member or associate member, it will not have a vote in this Congress. But Dharani, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Dharani friend from India South, and I am pursuing my undergraduate in Tamil Nadu in Asaram College. So I am here for this year of youth and it's Congress meet. I am happy to, I'm honored to be here. And this is Dharani. Yeah. Hello everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Dharani. The delegate from the head of delegation from Jamaica, please introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Deshaun Cook, and I'm the president of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students, and I am in this meeting with my second vice president of local and international affairs, Mr. Tavoy Barrett, and our general secretary, Ms. Tiffany Walters.
Thank you. We have Kenya. Kenya didn't register for the Congress, but we know that KUSO is a member, the Kenya University Students Organization. Kiribati, Lesotho. There is a registration from Lesotho. Is Moithori present? Or any other delegate from Lesotho? Malawi?
Hello, my name from Malawi. My name is Welcome Kaponya. I'm an executive member of Malawi National Students Union. Joined with me is my fellow executive member, James Kalawa, who's also from Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. From Malaysia, we have not yet secured the membership of MPPK, which is eligible for full membership.
Sure.
Is someone responding from Malaysia? No. The Maldives?
என்ன போயிட்டு இருக்கு காலைல செஞ்சிட்டோம் அங்க என்ன
I believe I saw Fatima enter the room. Is any member present from is any delegate present from the Maldives? All right. Malta, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia?
Greetings, Namibia is present. I am head of delegation, Lucian Dishishi, president of the Namibia National Students Organization, NANSO. My delegation has Pedro Moyoyeta, Secretary for Political and International Affairs, and our observer, the Deputy Secretary General of NANSO, Ms. Hilma Malupe.
Thank you. Nauru, New Zealand, Nigeria. There are 2 registrations from Nigeria. However, there ought to only be 1 head of delegation. So please confirm for us, Nigeria, who your head of delegation is on behalf of NANS.
My name is Comrade Anzola Kushedra. I'm the chairman of the 6 zonal coordinators and also the coordinator of North Central from University of Abuja. I'm the head of the delegation, while my brother, Comrade Chidubem, is our country rep and also the special assistant to the president of NANS on SCG affairs, student union government. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadrach. Pakistan, Papua New Guinea. Velusha is here and it's late, so thank you for being here.
Hi, good night, everyone. Papua New Guinea is present. I'm here on behalf of, I'm the head of delegation for the Papua New Guinea delegation. I'm joined by my colleague, Nathan Kilali. We are both part of the steering committee for the National Student Union.
Very well, thank you. Rwanda, St. Lucia, Samoa. I know that Audrey entered the room. She's head of delegation. Is she still present?
Yes.
Great. Go ahead, Audrey.
Hello, Palava. My name is Audrey Lee Hang. I am the Samoan representative. We don't have a national student union, but I will be representing Samoa. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, your National University Students Association qualifies for associate membership. So you are an associate member here. St. Lucia is in fact here. Ethan, can you unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ethan Lehan from St. Lucia, country representative and living member for the National Students Council here in St. Lucia.
You are a member of the NSC?
Yes.
Oh,
Vice
very
President.
well. Thank you. So Alicia Ramdal is assisting me with making these important notes. So we'll update the registration. We'll update the members present for the purpose of for confirming that we have a quorum. Seychelles.
Hi, my name is Naila Lespoir, and I am the president of the Student Council for the University of Seychelles. And with me, we have Trisha Labish, the CSA representatives. She's the observer, and as well, we have the vice president, Mr. Joey Chio.
Thank you. Singapore is unrepresented. Solomon Islands. South Africa. We have Sasko being registered. And I know I saw Theo enter the chat, country rep. Anyone from South Africa Students Congress present? All right. Sri Lanka, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Tanzania. Tonga, Trinidad and Tobago, Tuvalu, Uganda.
Hello, my name is Francis Okot. I'm the president of the Uganda National Students Association. I'm here with my vice president. Her name is called Gold Chiriza, and I have an observer who is our general secretary, His name is called Edwin Muhumuza. Nice being here and nice meeting all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sierra Leone. Apologies, Mohammed.
Good day, everybody. I am Mohamed Exponafa, President of the National Union of Sierra Leone Students, NUS, Head of Dedication. With me is Andrew Chopele, the Public Relations Officer, and Mariam Kone, the Director of Gender and Social Welfare Service. Thank you.
Thank you. The United Kingdom, Vanuatu, Zambia. Belize, kindly introduce yourself, Head of Delegation. All right, we'll note that Ashley Langford, President of the National Students Union of Belize, is present. She may not be able to unmute just now. But for our records, Alicia, could you assist me with the list? I just want to...
Hi, good day, everyone. I'm Ashley Langford. I am the president of the National Student Union of Belize. I am so happy to be here. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I can't show my screen. Show my video. I'm so sorry about that. My deepest apologies, but I'm
That's all
so
right.
happy to be here.
That's all right. So for transparency, I'm sending the list of countries allowed to vote, and the vote will be advanced by your head of delegation for the Congress.
Okay.
Sending it in the chat. All right, there it is. I'm inviting Mohammed Ademi to share with us the Congress rules before we go to the tabling of the report and to our first motion. Mohammed is the Vice Chair, Democracy and Participation.
Hello, everyone, and greetings to you wherever you are from all the regions of the Commonwealth. It's such a pleasure to have you all here gathered from different parts of the regions in Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and Americas, Europe, and the Pacific region. So I would be giving some insight into the rules of today's engagement, and that we should be strictly guided upon. Rule number one is that only the head of delegation is allowed to vote. And the second rule is that if you are to vote as a country, you have that right to discuss with your head of delegation and resolve that amicably, and your country has only one vote for fairness, equity, and justice. Second is only countries with associate members or full members may vote, meaning observer status here present are not allowed to vote. Or if you vote, your vote would be invalid. So the third rule is that country representative where there is no membership do not have a vote, but may observe, but do not have a vote. I hope that is clear enough. And I should also give a background context about today's engagement in line with the CSA Constitution, Article 7.1.2, which says online Congress shall have the following powers. One, to receive reports from the Executive Committee. Two, to make recommendations to the Executive Committee. Three, to fill any vacancy in the Executive Committee. Four, to take decisions as may be required to enable the CSA to operate and as may be determined and recommended by the executive committees. Given this background, the quorum for the Congress is 50% plus one of all delegates. And with this, I hope we have all been guided through the rules of today's engagement, and I wish us happy deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Vice Chair.
Thank you.
We move to our next agenda item. Just muting some persons here, which is the tabling of the 2022-2023 report. Now, members, it was the intention of the EXCO to have a single compiled documented report to present to you today. However, unfortunately, due to our own challenges, we were not able to compile that comprehensive report. However, I'll be inviting the executive members to provide a brief report or overview of what has happened in their portfolios in the last year. And we undertake to provide the Congress the report within a reasonable time. So we start with the Asia region. We have recruited an Asia regional committee. Only Singapore remains unrepresented on that committee. We are in the process of planning the Commonwealth Asia Student Government Summit, and the government of Malaysia, through the Ministry of Higher Education, has signaled its willingness to support at minimum to cover all in-country costs for the summit. Now, we've had our first Asia Regional Committee meeting, and that was only held this month because there were challenges with the region, but we are, I believe, smooth sailing for the remainder of the year. So there isn't, in effect, much to say about activity last year, other than that we had to do significant recruitment, meeting with potential candidates, convincing them about why their involvement in the CSA would be relevant to their country, would be relevant to global solidarity around educational issues, and achieving an Asia Regional Committee with 90% representation of the region is a success, because there has been the issue of a lack of interest in the region and the difficulty of finding students to connect with there. So you'll hear more from the Asia region at the next Congress, but suffice it to say, it is at a stage where it is being built. The Caribbean and Americas rep, Alicia Ramdal.
Okay, good morning, everyone from the Caribbean. It's morning where I am. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone that is present. As Benjamin said, I'm Alicia. I'm the Caribbean Regional Representative, a member of the CSA EXCO. And I'm just going to briefly go through the activities of the Caribbean and Americas Regional Representative Portfolio for 2023. And I will try to be brief. So I will start with CSA's attendance at the 7th Caribbean Regional Youth Leaders Summit that took place in January last year, so very early into our tenure. The CSA holds observer membership with the Caribbean Regional Youth Council, and this is the predominant student leadership body within our region, within the Caribbean region. And this would have been the first time that CSA substantively took part in the summit through hosting of a side event that also gave us the chance to highlight the importance of recognizing students as a separate subset from the general, blanket category of youth, which is usually the case. And that session also allowed us to share knowledge with delegates from across the region on the state of student governance currently, where we've made progress, where progress is required to be made still, and also introduced our goal of establishing and strengthening student governance within the region, particularly through national student organizations, councils, and unions. I would just mention some recognizable participation aside from that summit that I will not go into too much detail on. So there was participation at the Commonwealth Youth Leaders Summit, which took place in London in March. Following that, CSA was represented through the Caribbean and Americas regional representative at the UN ECOSOC Youth Forum that took place in New York. And CSA was one of 2 youth networks that participated in a session that was held by the Commonwealth Youth Program in partnership with the government of Pakistan. That was focused on co-creating solutions for a common future. And that particular event would have been on the cusp of a major event for CSA this year that I'm sure you will hear many of my other colleagues mention, which was the Commonwealth Youth and Student Summit Africa, which was held in Nigeria in May. So there were many strategic partnerships that were established out of that meeting in New York, ECOSOC Youth Forum, leading up to the Commonwealth Youth and Students Summit in Africa. Aside from that, aside from myself as the regional representative, there would have been many initiatives, events, sessions that would have been hosted by members of our regional working group. And I'll speak a little bit on that, a little bit on the regional working group soon. They would have, either initiated or participated in a number of different initiatives focused on student governance. I had the privilege of attending a few of them, one of them in October last year in Barbados, where a country representative participated in a very esteemed forum with the University of the West Indies, which is the major university within the Caribbean region. It has several campuses across the Caribbean. And he brought the presentation on student advocacy and association development. So we were very happy to see that being included in their 60th anniversary celebrations. Then a little bit on the establishment of a Caribbean regional working group. So currently within the Caribbean region, there are approximately 14 Commonwealth Caribbean countries. It is 14. We currently have 10 persons represented on the Caribbean regional working group. So that represents more than 70% of the region. And of course, we continue to work towards full representation with the understanding that the landscape is very different in different Caribbean territories. Some of them are overseas territories, etc., where student governance is not something that is prioritized. Additionally, we have made much progress with the planning of the Eastern Caribbean Student Governance Training Workshop. And that is a workshop that the CSA, through the Caribbean and Americas Regional Representative Portfolio, is in the process of hosting and executing in partnership with the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, that's UNICEF, the Eastern Caribbean office. And this is a session that is heavily focused on the establishment of NSOs, national student organizations, national student councils in Eastern Caribbean countries where there are currently none. So we're particularly focusing on countries where none exist. And much capacity building of steering committees will be done at this workshop. And we're also working very heavily towards ensuring that they are well connected and supported by their individual ministries of education for sustainability thereafter the workshop. There are a number of initiatives that we have tabled for 2024. I'm sure you will be privy to those as you follow along our social media. I will end it here for our 2023 report and hand back over to our chairman, Benjamin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alicia. The Africa region represented by Francis Azubuike.
Yes, greetings everyone. Esteemed Congress, thank you very much for joining. My name is Francis Azubuike. I serve as the Africa Regional Rep on the Commonwealth Students Association Executive Committee. And as you're all aware, this committee came on board officially on the 17th of March at the installation ceremony held. And then shortly after that, we deemed it fit to ensure that each country of the Commonwealth within the Africa region is well, represented on the Africa Regional Committee. So suffice to say that the first assignment was to establish an Africa Regional Committee to ensure that we have people who would represent these countries at the national level. And so that was the first move since coming into office. And shortly after, we were in Ghana to represent, to observe the National Union of Ghana Students elections sometime in July. And this is part of our resolve, our move to ensure that we uphold democracy, we uphold transparency and ethical standards within our student communities to ensure that ethical practices are being operated within our student communities. And after that, we also attended the Manasseh General Assembly, where we gave some kind of recommendations during this General Assembly, particularly when the union was at the verge of legitimizing its association. So we were there to show solidarity and to prefer some recommendations regarding how the union could go about its process. In December, we were in Ghana, where our Ghana country representative, Joshua Ope, led an initiative on the National Student Conference, which had in attendance hundreds of students to deliberate extensively on national issues as they relate to education in Ghana. And after that, there was a boot camp which we organized shortly after that in the same Ghana to train students on how to make use or how to be familiar with some digital equipment or digital softwares that we have in our world today to ensure that students are technologically compliant. And in the same December, we were also in Nigeria to observe the NANS election, which was held in the second week of December. And then just the ethical standards of democracy and the values of the CSA are properly outlined and followed in the way that the election went. For a couple of weeks now, we've been having a series of discussion, meetings with the Danish National Students Organization and the Tanzania Ireland Students Organization, TALIZO, to come up with a partnership that would address issues surrounding gender inequality and sexual reproductive health. So we are at an advanced stage in that conversation, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll be able to finalize, and then we have some of these advocacy projects being operationalized in Denmark and in Tanzania, particularly. Recently, we just finalized on a partnership deal we had with the Inside Nollywood to provide 100 African students with masterclass training on film directing, on film production, and by next month we'll be having 100 students from the Commonwealth Students Association angle who will be trained in the areas of film production, film directing, and script writing. And just to mention also that sometime last year, we ensured that, having realized anyway that the Cameroon Students Union were at the verge of ensuring that a national student organization is being established in the country. We showed support and solidarity with the team working on that project in Cameroon, because part of the CSA's mandate is to ensure that a national student organization is established where one is not currently present. Also, we are also making the same move in Mauritius, which is the country where the CSA was established many years back. And so this would form a little of the updates from my end. As the Congress proceeds, if there are any additional information from my end, I will be able to provide that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Francis. Unfortunately, the Pacific Regional Rep, Bradley Yombon Kopio, isn't present, but he is very active, and I'm well acquainted with the work being done in the region, so I could brief the Congress. Bradley advocated for and secured student representation at the first Pacific Education Ministers meeting that was held, I believe, sometime in April or March of 2023. Bradley has been coordinating, along with the presidents of the major universities, 9 tertiary institutions, I believe, in Papua New Guinea, to establish the first, well, if not the first, to establish a national student organization that should be launched next year, March or April, during the Year of Youth tour. Bradley organized a student exchange program between the University of Papua New Guinea and the Auckland University, maybe I didn't say that right, a university in New Zealand, where a delegation of students from PNG were able to experience academic and cultural immersion at the host university in New Zealand, among other key achievements during his portfolio. Next, we'll go to the democracy and participation portfolio.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished members, full members, associate members, and observing status members. It is important to know that we are all here together today, making history together in the history of the CSA, 11 years of existence, as this is the 5th Student Congress of the Commonwealth Student Association, and it is such a giant stride of our collective efforts and aspirations together. I want to incredibly once again welcome each and every one of you to this Congress. The work that we do here at the Commonwealth Student Association, it is a reflection of your ideas in your various countries and as leaders of national student organizations. And to briefly summarize what has occurred between October 2022, since we were elected, and this year, I would say that the office received invitation to attend and participate at the Commonwealth Youth Leaders Summit in London, and also was in attendance at the Commonwealth Youth and Students Summit for the African region held in Abuja, Nigeria, May 2023. The office also received from our partner, the All African Student Union, ASU, an invitation for the African Music and Arts Cultural Exhibition in Zambia, June mid-2023. In the meantime, towards September 2023, I have the privilege of being selected as part of the UNESCO Youth and Students Network, courtesy of the representation of student unions, global student unions or international student unions within the UNESCO rank. Similarly, more insight will be given on some of the work that we have proposed from the office together and that we have been co-creating together with the ESCO, part of it, which is the Commonwealth Student Safety Governance Report from the Office of the Chairperson. I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. From the advocacy portfolio led by Christina Williams.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good day, everyone from Jamaica. I hope you're warm and doing well. So I'll quickly go into it. We had a number of key advocacy and partnership events where we were able to give our input on behalf of the Commonwealth students, and also were able to have our voices heard in a number of outcome documents. So we were represented at the United Nations General Assembly, the Commonwealth Youth Ministers Meeting, the Commonwealth Leaders Workshop, the Commonwealth Youth and Students Summit Africa, the Magna Carta Observatory webinar series and their conference. Just to give some context to this, because I know this term and this organization may be new to some of you. It is actually a consortium of universities across the world, and they focus a lot on the development of higher education space. So they had some webinar series last year, and they also had a major conference in Poland, and we were able to represent within that space. So from our engagement with these different key advocacy events, we were able to have our voices represented in the outcome documents, such as the CYSS declaration, the summative statement to the Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting. We also had a very important publication with the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights. So we were able to have that accomplished on behalf of the students that we represent. And we also launched 2 declarations, which you'll hear a little bit more about during the motion section of our program here today. The Commonwealth Student Governance Integrity Declaration, as well as the Commonwealth Student Safety and Security Declaration. So you'll be able to ratify that document, and we will also be seeking endorsements from relevant institutions such as government and international bodies. We were also able to train over 100 students across the Commonwealth. It's a project funded by the Global Campaign for Education. And we were able to have these courses proctored and on the Commonwealth Youth Academy page. So if you're here and you're interested in that, you're able to go on and to see those courses. They're still available there. You can still engage with it, as well as have your members engage with it. And they were trained in the areas of gender equality, decolonization of education, inclusion to do with students with disabilities, and how to have these areas adopted in their curricula, as well as general advocacy strategies. In terms of my committee, we recently launched this. Late last year, we launched a committee for the Advocacy and Partnerships division, and we have 4 members currently. So it's a highly specialized committee, as you can see. We have 1 rep from each region, so it's well represented. However, because we have so much plans this year, as Cheryl will tell you, this is the year of impact. We have so many plans this year. Feel free to connect with me. I'll put my email in the chat if you're interested or your membership is interested to be a part of my committee, as well as if you have any initiatives that you have, whether related to partnerships or advocacy, that you'd want to work with my portfolio with. So I look forward to seeing some emails coming in after the Congress. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina. We have the communications and research portfolio that is managed by Ridgway Arfin. All right, he's not able to speak just now, but I will tell you that the Digital Marketing Committee, which he co-chairs along with Sidela Maki, it has been revamped, and we are going to lift the profile of the organization through social media, digital marketing, through strategic comms over the next several months. So look out for that. Then there is my contribution as chair I also will try to be brief because I want us to get to the substantive motions. Let me start off by saying, you are our boss. The Congress is our boss. The CSA Constitution provides the Congress shall be the supreme body of the CSA. Supreme is the operative word, meaning you are higher than the EXCO. You elect us to carry out the work, and we're accountable to you. You can applaud us, rebuke us, remove us, shift up the whole Constitution to make it more workable. And I want for the members not to see themselves as recipients of our decision making, but the drivers behind it, which is why we will move to elect the chairperson of the Congress. The Congress is a separate organ from the executive committee. And historically, as far as I know, there has never been a chairperson of the Congress, though it is provided for in our Constitution. By having the chairperson of the Congress elected, we'll be able to properly maintain lines of accountability between the Congress and the executive committee. The Congress isn't only relevant when it's time for an election and candidates start approaching members for voting. We want that to be done away with. We want the Congress to be vibrant throughout the year. We want the Congress to, on its own initiative, make calls to action with the leadership of the chairperson. If it needs to intervene in the conduct of the executive committee, which we want, and I will tell you plainly, I want that as chairperson, that the Congress is in a position to act as it is constitutionally empowered to do. Quickly, the Resource Mobilization Task Force was appointed this year. It is led by Ms. Pamela Manti from Ghana, and our main objective is to find a home for the CSA. The CSA needs a secretariat. It needs the administrative support required for the organization to be sustainable and workable. And we don't have that. We're going to countries starting February 12 through to April 25 to ask them, among other things, whether or not they're prepared to provide financial support to the CSA or to actually set up the secretariat there, paying employees, providing us with our headquarters, whether it is by renting or purchasing a facility. It is an ambitious request, but it is not unprecedented. We have a document called the Expression of Interest by Member States form, which we will be championing during the Year of Youth tour. We have been targeting countries like Singapore, Australia, Canada, but we haven't achieved any success as yet. We have had one offer from Malaysia for a desk and an employee, but we are seeking more. The International Students' Day Planning Committee spotlighted the Asia Pacific region. They successfully convened an activity. Lavanka is here. She was the co-chair of that committee. And from that activity, we now have the Pacifica Cultural Festival, which again spotlights the Pacific region, where there are 11 Commonwealth countries, but effectively 2 with active participation in the CSA. We have organized at least 20 episodes of the CSA Fireside. If you have not watched or listened to the recordings, I would invite you to. It allows us to learn about each other from authentic, impartial student voices. It was created as a form of momentum towards the Year of Youth tour. We targeted countries where there was low engagement to bring them on the CSA Fireside and to establish partnerships with them in furtherance of planning the Torah objectives. I believe we have achieved success. The viewership is increasing, but as a strategic point of establishing contact, we have achieved that, especially in Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Samoa, South Africa. We were able to achieve that. Now, we have a few more activities coming up that you'll hear about. We have the Rojak, which essentially is a sequel to the Fireside, which will be done in the native tongue of our members. You would note that decolonizing education is one of our advocacy priorities, with a specific focus on the language of instruction. And we're advocating for local language to be prioritized in the classroom as the mode of teaching. This Rojak will promote recognition for local language while acknowledging and advocating on cross-cutting issues that we agree on. Look out for that. Look out for the Pan-Commonwealth team meeting, which will be held under the theme, the state of student government, the state of student safety and security in the Commonwealth. We'll be inviting all country representatives or the full member to make a 10-minute address over a period of 10 hours. You will simply come in to make your address and exit, similar to how they do it with the UNGA. We're going to compile a report. We're asking each country to send a 300-page report that captures, whether anecdotally or supported by statistics, important issues in student safety and security in your country, leading up to the CCEM in London in May, leading up to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in October. We want to have this kind of input from our members so that we can forcefully present our agenda to both education ministers and heads of state. We have the Year of Youth Tour, which I mentioned before, starts in May. We start in Kenya, we go to Namibia, South Africa, Mauritius, Seychelles. Then we head to the Asia region, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Malaysia, Brunei, Singapore. And then we go into the Pacific region, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, and Samoa. There is a website that provides more information. I really should have stopped speaking already, so I'm going to end here to say that I'm proud of my team. We are volunteers. None of us have been paid for the hundreds of hours we have collectively poured into this. It is purely driven by passion and an interest in education being made accessible for all. And we see student representation as being key in the quality assurance framework in delivering education. If education ministries and stakeholders can't be held accountable by students, it means we're not maximizing in the output and delivery of education. And that's why we do what we do. So I acknowledge that there's more that can be done. There is more that perhaps should be done, but we hope, Congress or bosses, that you will see that the team is genuine, that despite our challenges, we are making every effort to carry out the mandate you elected us to do. I move now to item number 6, which is the tabling of motion 1. And I invite my team member to do that. I'm inviting Francis to present motion 1.
Thank you very much, Chair. And greetings, esteemed Congressman, once again. And thank you very much for staying by up until this time. We have now come to the very important part of this Congress, which is to move the motions for some important aspects of this Congress. The first motion will be on the suspension of voting by secret ballot. And I will read the text as highlighted here. I move to suspend the voting by secret ballot for all agenda items in the 5th Congress online and instead conduct an open vote. The purpose of this motion is to agree on a mode of voting that promotes transparency and openness. And so the procedure that this motion would take would be that the suspension of voting by secret ballot applies to all agenda items that we have on the agenda. And then participants will be required to openly indicate their vote, either by individually communicating their votes orally or by instant message on the meeting platform through their heads of delegation. This change in voting procedure is applicable for this Congress and does not affect the use of secret ballots for other meetings unless otherwise agreed by the Congress. Thank you very much, Chair. Over to you.
Thank you, Francis. Does anyone second that motion? Well, before we take the vote, I should ask, I'm opening the floor for discussion. Are there any concerns? Are there any reservations about that? Would you require of the EXCO to provide more on the rationale as to why we're opting to go by open vote?
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Could you state your name, please, and country?
Yes, this is Mohamed Exponafa, President of the National Union of Sierra Leone Students, NUS, Head of Delegation. I want to firstly commend you all for the tremendous work you are doing in ensuring that we continue to maximize the welfare of students in Africa and the world at large. That is the more reason why I think it is most important that we get engagement of this type on a regular basis, so we continue to factor the challenges and equally see how we make possible solutions to salvage all of these issues. So for me, I think voting as a sign of getting our representatives is very key. But at the end of the day, we do not want to vote and become enemies at the end of it all. So for me, I do not think the open voting makes much of a sense. Firstly, we are coming to vote for people that we are meeting for the first time. So in as much as it has to do with students' leadership, every atom of integrity, respect, and the way one carries himself, he or herself, should be taken into consideration, because this has to do with the public office and it has to do with you representing a lot of students out there within the continent. So coming to vote for somebody that I do not know personally, somebody I have not interacted with, somebody I have no knowledge of, it's an injustice to the institution itself. That said, having an open box or ballot system, voting system, equally defeats the purpose of democracy. Because democracy basically states that one of the key principles should be secret ballots. That is, you have to vote for me, and I do not get to know that specifically Gabo voted for me. Moses from Liberia should vote for me without me knowing that Moses voted for me. So even if I have to come to you secretly and say, I want to vote for you, but I don't want to jeopardize the relationship that you are having with another person. So I think the open ballots, I think we need some modifications around it. There are certain things we need to do to ensure that we get it all right. In as much as the organization is struggling with financial issues and all of the rest, we totally agree and understand the situation. But I think we need better and more concrete ways to go about this entire process. That is my reservation for now. Thank you.
Honorable Member, thank you very much for explaining clearly. And we want persons to feel safe to say exactly what they're thinking. If I may provide some more clarification before the vote is taken, we are not voting on the election of any person today. All votes concern the motions shared with you in the meeting agenda and list of motions. The second motion concerns...
All right.
No, allow me to finish, member. The second one concerns the election of the chairperson of the Congress, but we're not taking that vote today. That is simply to open nominations and the process. The third motion concerns the election of the returning officer, but again, that won't necessarily be done today. The fourth one is on two documents. I also would like to share my dissent, if I may, that in the United Nations General Assembly, they do tell you what countries vote for what, and it doesn't defeat democracy. I think it promotes transparency, and we ought to be mature about the decisions made. But your views are respected, and if you want to respond, and we'll allow 2 or 3 more contributions on the point, and then we decide. Mohammed?
Respectfully noted. I will observe for now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can we hear 2 or 3 more members share their view before we take the vote? The vote being ultimately conclusive. I suppose while members think, I want to share more on the rationale. Due to the virtual modality of the meeting, it would be impracticable to facilitate physical voting by secret ballot. Furthermore, the other alternative would be to procure an electronic voting system, which the CSA would have to rely on a funding partner to do. And that would take too much time. Perhaps it would be time to elect the new EXCO by the time we're able to go through that procurement process. Unless there's another viable alternative, I mean, we reasonably don't see another way to handle voting. But again, can we hear from our delegates?
Yes, I think there's another alternative. Donald Boto here from Cameroon.
Thank you, Donald.
We can try using Google, I think it's Google Forms for voting. It's a very nice tool when it comes to voting. So maybe perhaps for the next Congress or for the next elections that we are supposed to carry, we can consider using it. Thank you.
All right. There's the option of Google Forms, but there's also the question of how secure is that platform? Can it be manipulated?
Yes, I mean, for the operationalization of it, maybe we will discuss after.
Okay. All right, 2 more contributions and then we'll take the vote. We've heard from the Africa region. Can we hear from Caribbean, Pacific, or Asia? All right, if there is no one else, can we take a short break? Don't exit the platform, but I just need to speak to my team members briefly. So you could just take a short break. Thanks. Well, I'll just be plain about the difficulty we're having here. That the success of that motion is the platform for the remaining motions. So if we don't have a way to vote, there is essentially, I'm not sure how we will proceed without wasting the rest of the time that we have for this Congress. So I hear the option of the Google form, and I hear the option of Zoom. Well, we are young and agile. Should I amend the motion to create now a Google form, which I can whip up quickly, and use the Google form for the remainder of the Congress? Oh, well, okay, so let's first take the motion. I'm being guided by my team. Let's take the motion, and if it falls, then we take another motion on whether or not a Google form would be appropriate. All right, so for a moment, please.
Cameroon seconds the motion.
Can you repeat? Don't out?
Yes, I said Cameroon is seconding the motion.
All right, thank you.
Malawi seconds the motion.
Thank you, Malawi.
Well, I suppose it's a little bit of circular reasoning, because we are in fact doing an open vote to determine whether or not an open vote will be accepted. So let's allow it to run and see. So I'm inviting all countries either to indicate orally or type their response to determine whether or not this motion carries. I'm reposting the members. St. Lucia approves. We're awaiting the vote from Ghana, Jamaica, Namibia, Nigeria, Uganda, Sierra Leone, and South Africa. Saeed, I see your vote, but we need it to come from the head of delegation. You may also abstain. That is an option. You may also abstain. Right. I'll allow 2 more minutes for Uganda, Sierra Leone, South Africa, and Nigeria to participate. However, we have reached a simple majority. All right, the motion passes. So for the remaining agenda items, we will vote by open ballot. And I want to emphasize that the motion specifically mentions that it does not affect the use of secret ballot for other meetings. The Congress is empowered to make decisions based on the circumstances that we find ourselves in. If this were a physical meeting, secret ballot, we would have more than likely opted for that. All right, thank you, congressmen and women. We proceed. May we have the reading of the second motion? All right. Mohammed?
Yeah.
Ademi with the second motion. Thank you.
Yeah. Respected Chair, distinguished members of the CSA, I move to elect the Congress chairperson in line with the provision of the Constitution, Section 7, subsection 1, subsection 2, and in accordance with the established rules and procedures of this Congress. The purpose of this motion plays a crucial role in maintaining order, managing discussions, and overseeing the overall organization of this Congress. The procedure for this motion are as follows. 1. Nominations for the position of Congress chairperson may be made by any member in this Congress. 2. Full members who are national student organizations across all the Commonwealth countries here present, or associate members, that is, student unions where national student organizations do not exist, are eligible to be nominated for the chairperson of the Congress. 3. Following the nominations, a brief period of discussion may be allowed to address any questions, objections, or concerns regarding the candidates nominated. 4. The CSA Executive Committee will convene an emergency Congress no more than 60 days from the date of the 5th CSA Congress to facilitate the voting of the Congress chairperson. 5th, the candidate receiving the majority of votes will be appointed to the position of the Congress chairperson. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Vice Chair. The motion is on the floor. Would anyone want to comment? May I preempt you by clarifying again that for the chairperson of the Congress, it is an organization, not an individual. So, for example, if Nugs runs and wins, Nugs is the chairperson, not the president. But the president may effectively, because it requires a human being, participate in the role coordinating Nugs. If Nanso runs, the same thing applies. So it's not Lucia against the president from Ghana. It's Nugs and Nanso or Nans. All right, I see gold. You may go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you. I take this honor to thank the organizers of this Congress. I really appreciate. This is Gold Chiriza from Uganda. I'm in favor with the motion, though I'm seeking clarity from you. Could there be a constitution that we would be using, maybe as you read this article and this, here as well we know what we are reading about or what you're talking about? Because as I might say, some of us don't have the constitution of the Commonwealth Students Association. Thank you.
Let me share it with you immediately.
Okay, with reference to Section 7, subsection 1 and 2, the Congress.
Any other contributions? All right, I'm sending it on 2 platforms. I'm sending it in the chat here, and I'm sending it in the WhatsApp group. But that's the link to the webpage. But at the bottom of the webpage is the document. Thanks for bringing this up, Gold. If there are no other questions, but I should further clarify, Congress, that you are not voting on the chairperson today. You are helping, well, you are deciding the method for the election of the chairperson. This has not been done before, so we are seeking, by way of an interpretation of the Constitution, to achieve the objective. It may be a little bit nuanced by our circumstances, again, that we are virtual, but we're open to hearing from the members any concern. I know that we have agreed on open voting for the agenda items today, but for the purpose of the actual vote of the chairperson, if members are uncomfortable, we can look into an alternative. We don't want there to be any question about the integrity of the election after it is done. So please speak openly now. All right? We can go ahead and take the vote on motion 2.
Papua New Guinea is in favor.
Thank you. I inadvertently sent the 2015 version, sending the corrected version now, members of the Constitution.
As an observation, do we have a time limit for this entire exercise?
Pardon me, sir?
Just an observation. Do we have a time limit for this entire exercise?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Do we have the what?
A time limit, duration.
Do we have a time duration for this entire exercise?
We intended for it to go no longer than 2 hours.
Dear Benjamin, sorry to bring you backwards, but I have a little question again. If I understand well, the election procedure here is not done by a self-candidacy, but by a nomination made by any member of the Congress of this meeting. So you have to be nominated before being candidate, or can you declare yourself?
Just a moment. Let me just review the language of the motion. The motion says, well, nominations for the position of Congress chairperson may be made by any participant in this Congress, and any would involve self, as far as my interpretation goes. If there is anyone who disagrees with that, they could voice it, but I believe that's how it is to be understood. All right, we are still awaiting the vote from Cameroon, Ghana, Uganda, and Sierra Leone.
Cameroon abstains.
Cameroon abstains. The motion passes. However, we would like Ghana and Uganda and Sierra Leone to deposit their vote. If you could do so in the chat while we move to the third motion. Election of the returning officer for the purpose of the chairperson of the Congress's election. May we have the third motion, please?
Yes, greetings again, everyone. So this motion 3 pertains to the election of a returning officer for the purpose of the CSA Executive Committee elections. I will first describe the purpose before I move the motion. So the returning officer is required to maintain the integrity of the election process. They will play a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of the election process. They will be responsible for verifying the eligibility of candidates who are nominated to run for the EXCO positions. They will be responsible for overseeing the voting process generally, and they will also have the responsibility of announcing the results of the election. The procedure for this to be done will happen where the returning officer will be nominated and elected by a simple majority vote of the CSA Executive Committee within 14 days of the 5th CSA Congress. And any member may submit one candidate for consideration to the office of the Vice Chair, Democracy and Participation. I will now move the motion. So I hereby move a motion to select a returning officer for the election of the Congress chairperson to oversee the electoral process, ensure its fairness, and conduct the elections in accordance with the established rules and procedures. And I will hand back over to Benjamin to take discussions.
All right, thank you. Now, there is a question from the special advisor to the Asia Regional Committee, who is also the first Asia Regional Rep of the CSA, on whether or not the returning officer should be a delegate or any one observer. If I could just caucus with my team members on the question. We are agreeing that anyone should be eligible for the post, which could include, yes, alumni. But please take note of the language of this motion, where we're saying that it needs to be done in 14 days because the election of the chairperson needs to be done within 60 days. So we need the returning officer to be in place to manage that election. And we're also saying that it is we're asking the Congress to give the Exco the power to decide who the returning officer should be. Apologies. Cyril, in favor. Thank you. Sincerest apologies, Mohammed. I am doing quite a bit of technical coordination here, admitting persons who keep falling off, sharing screen, managing the caucus of the Exco. So please permit me some grace. All right, there is a submission that no country rep, no executive committee member, or they can't vie for returning officer, or no candidate for the chairperson of the
Yes.
Congress can vie for returning officer. Are there any more questions on the motion before we take the vote? Do we feel sufficiently clear that this returning officer is specifically for the election of the Congress chairperson, and that we're asking Congress to allow the CSA Exco to decide who that will be? All right. Those in favor, please indicate. I invite someone to second this motion. Seconded by Samuel, and we'll take the vote.
Cameroon seconds the motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not yet. All right, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. So at this time, we're going to take nominations for chairperson of the Congress. You may, for the purpose of the nomination, open your microphone or submit it in the chat to make it a little bit more personal. Preferably, you may self-nominate, you could speak. Again, we're accepting nominations, and that's organizations that are being nominated for the chairperson of the Congress. You may nominate an organization or nominate another organization or your own.
Oh, all right. Donald Boato here. I nominate the Cameroon National Association of Students for the post of chairperson of the Congress.
Nomination received.
More nominations can please come in. Please be reminded that the election is not taking place today.
Yes, and reiterating that you may nominate your own organization.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I nominate the Namibia National Students Organization, NANSO, from Namibia.
Nomination received.
Thank you.
SASCO, South African Students Congress. I note Audrey's question, but just for clarity, Audrey, full members, which are national organizations, and associate members have voting rights. Observers do not have voting rights. The National University of Samoa Students Association is an associate member and has voting rights, for clarity. Also clarifying that the nominations we're taking now are for Congress chair.
So we have received nomination from Cameroon and Namibia. Would be good to have other members from the Caribbean, the Pacific, or the Asia region to go into the nominations together.
Vice Chair, as well as the South Africa Students Congress.
So we have 3 nominations. Okay. Guided. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. NANS is also vying for chair. So we're going to have a very vibrant election. If there are no more nominations, the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students has also entered the ring. Vice Chair, could you just read again all the nominees for us, please?
All right, Chair, sir. We have received nomination from Cameroon. We also received nominations from Namibia. We have nomination from South Africa. We have nomination from Nigeria. And finally, we have nominations from Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students. Oh, amazing. We have 6 nominations, and joining the ring now is Malawi National Students Union, Manas. Thank you. Again, this is for the election of the Congress chairperson. Thank you.
We have 1 minute left for this motion. All right. The nominations are now closed. We have 2 minutes left for our Congress with 2 motions remaining. I move a motion to extend the 5th CSA Congress by 15 minutes to allow for the deliberation of the motions. Does anyone second that motion?
I second the motion, Chair.
Thank you. Those against? Right. With none against, motion carries, and we'll proceed to motion 4 to be read by Christina.
Yes, I'm here, Chair. Okay. Good day again, colleagues. Motion for adoption of the Commonwealth Student Safety and Security Agreement. I move to adopt the Commonwealth Student Safety and Security Agreement, a document that outlines our commitment to creating and maintaining a secure and supportive environment for all students within our educational community. The purpose of this agreement is to establish a set of principles, policies, and guidelines to ensure the safety, well-being, and dignity of every student. It reflects our collective commitment to foster an environment that is conducive to learning, personal growth, and inclusivity. The procedure for the carrying of this motion is the agreement on student safety has been in public circulation. A period of discussion is open for any participant to express thoughts, concerns, or suggestions related to the agreement. Following the discussion, a vote will be conducted to adopt the agreement. The approval requires a simple majority vote. For the removal of doubt, the agreement will remain a draft document upon adoption and will be thoroughly reviewed. The final draft of the agreement will be tabled for ratification at the 6th CSA Congress. I so move.
All right, this motion is slightly complicated, because while we have had the document in circulation, we're not sure if if it reached the eyes of the delegates. So there is the option, Congress, to delay this motion until another Congress, perhaps the emergency Congress, where the chairperson of the Congress should be elected, if you feel that you need more time to review the document. Does anyone second that motion?
No, as you said, I think it would be better to delay the motion, since me personally, I did not have the occasion to see it and read it, so I cannot make a decision based on what I've not seen.
Very well.
Thank you.
That is reasonable. So we will have it shared immediately, and you may also view the link in our bio on our various accounts for the document. All right, let me just share it in the chat. I believe we have a general consensus to postpone. Let's read motion number 5. I'll read that one. I move to adopt the Commonwealth Student Government Integrity Declaration, a document that outlines our commitment to the good governance of student representative bodies. The Agreement on Integrity in Student Government aims to promote a set of principles, policies, and guidelines to ensure the good governance of student representative bodies, to safeguard their independence and preservation as a nurturing space for future civic and political leaders. The declaration has been in public circulation. A period of discussion is open for any participant to express thoughts, concerns, or suggestions related to the agreement. Following the discussion, a vote will be conducted. To adopt the declaration, approval requires a simple majority. For the removal of doubt, the declaration will remain a draft document upon adoption and will be thoroughly reviewed. The final draft of the declaration will be tabled for ratification at the 6th CSA Congress. Uh, I move the motion, but in light of what was said before, I believe there is general consensus to postpone the motion. Well, yes, to postpone. All right, this takes us to item 11, any other business? And I think a private question from Gold would serve well as one of the questions in any other business. How do we get in touch with all the people on this platform? Is there any platform that brings us together as one after the meeting? Well, this is a meeting that brings you together as one. But if you want to make connections, do so now. I invite all persons here to share the information of your organization's social media handles, as well as, if you want, your personal social media handles. One of the strategic objectives of the CSA is to facilitate networking. I imagine that some of you prior to today didn't know about some of the countries that were called at the introductory stage of the meeting. So we're both learning about each other and establishing connections. So please feel free. Yes, there's a member WhatsApp group. Let me send the link to that. Is there any other question? We have 9 minutes left for the meeting. Is there any other question?
Chair,
Yes.
may I remind the dignified members of what they're supposed to do in regards to the returning officer, the nominations?
Sure, sure. Repeat that, please.
The instructions for the nominations of returning officers.
Well, based on the motion, it's that the EXCO will appoint somebody in 14 days, but maybe if you could be clearer with what you're asking me to say. All right. Can the CSA executives create a contact list that can be shared with all member organizations through regional representatives, perhaps? We would love to take this up, Deshaun, from Jutes. But let me tell you what our difficulty is. And I'm chiding members here. Too many of us have inactive emails. We have emails in our database and it keeps bouncing. or you change your official email and we're not informed, or when you elect your new executive team, there isn't any communication. But we're working on resolving that. I know for sure the Africa regional rep has been steadfast in urging his country reps to communicate the newly elected persons so that we can have that continuity. But yes, we have tried to maintain a database of contacts, but it's difficult because of the challenges I just shared. Any other questions or concerns? If I could mention something about the 6th CSA Congress. All in-person congresses have so far been held alongside the Conference of Commonwealth Education Ministers meeting. The last one was in Nairobi, Kenya. The one before that was in Fiji. The next Congress, the next CCEM Education Ministers meeting is in London. And it is our anticipation that the CSA Congress will be facilitated on those sidelines. However, I had a preliminary discussion with the head of social policy at the Commonwealth Secretariat, and they informed me that this year's CCEM in London will be scaled down. However, we as the Exco are advocating for our Congress to be held. Francis was in London a few months ago, and he was able to solicit the support. I hope I'm not misspeaking. I believe it's a university or an association to provide us with a meeting venue. And this is the year of youth. So we believe that the Congress should meet in person. Identify with our situation in a similar way to you who have ministries of youth and education that you have to respond to and ask for support. And sometimes you have to challenge them for the support. Well, that is the seat we find ourselves in. We're actively advocating for a Congress to be held in person where our members are either fully funded or partially funded. Partial funding is more realistic, frankly, though it's not unprecedented to have full funding for Commonwealth youth activities. So please be advised, that's as transparent as we can be. It's not totally confirmed, but we are batting for it. And we have 3 minutes left until adjournment. All right, I'll ask two of my EXCO members to make closing remarks. Let me ask Christina and Mohammed. Yes, Mohammed.
Thank you so much for your time today and for representing your countries and your various regions at the 5th Commonwealth Students Association Congress. This is very delightful, and we hope that we continue to engage on mutual trust, on our international relations, and also to continue to build and our partnerships, and also to collaborate more as members of the CSA. And I can assure you that the CSA Executive Committee, under the leadership of our chair, Benjamin Fraser, is very committed to the principles of democracy, participation, inclusion, and equity. And you could all also bear witness to what you've all greetings to your members who are the students that you represent in your various countries and destinations. Thank you, and see you at the in-person Congress in London. Bye.
Thanks, Mohammed. Christina?
Thank you, Chair. To everyone, I just want to wish you a huge thank you for making our 5th Congress possible. If we adjourned the platform this morning, in the afternoon, whatever time it is in your country, and you weren't here, we would not be able to convene. So thank you so much. I will use this opportunity again to encourage you to engage with us, with our regional representatives, with the different vice chair portfolio. This year is the year of impact. You may have seen it on our different pages, but we cannot make impacts without your contribution. So please use the emails, use the WhatsApp numbers, and work with us as we work with you and for you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I move to adjourn this meeting. May we have someone seconding that adjournment?
Seconded by Muhammad Adi.
Thank you, sir. And for our group photo, all right, ready? Right, one more. All right, good to go. All right, take care, everyone. Thank you for joining.